Well, I need to welcome you back, and indeed is the big story. Is it back or not? We're talking about fuel subsidy, looking at the back and forth between the federal government through the NNPCL and also oil marketers insisting that the subsidy seems to be back. But anyway, we're back with it, and we're still having that discussion. Like I said, we still have no other person but Comrade FM right here in the studio. As much as we're also having no other person but Mr. Fineface, do not mean Fineface, joining us all the way from Port Harcourt, and well, definitely in River State. But anyway, we need to relieve the issues and still talk about it. But we need to also take a message from our lovely sponsors. We're talking about Benita Gas, located right here in Ughelli. And you can also get them in Warri, but you can also reach out there to them right there at Okokoko. But let's take a message and we'll come back. More discussions centered on fuel subsidy.
Oh, yeah, follow the road, auto better quality. If you dey talk gas matter, oh, yeah, follow Beneta. Gas with the better quality, Beneta gas. Gas where they full rich man to Beneta gas. Home delivery, brother, na sharply. Beneta gas. For Beneta gas, no mago, Beneta gas. Get different type of gas cylinder. Beneta I be like that gas we go last you well, na Beneta gas. Matter Beneta now dogu Beneta gas service na dem dey run Beneta gas make you carry go
for gas matter and home delivery make you wire Beneta gas plant for 08067457890 and 08059047722. Beneta gas plant, the tequile of gas matters.
Well, definitely, those are our proud sponsors. But, you know, the big story is big enough. I can accommodate all your businesses. All you need to do, come over and let's see how we can talk and definitely bring them or bring you on board. But anyway, we're still voted and we're bringing them back on board. And we're talking of no other person but Comrade FM and also Fineface, do not mean Fineface. Hello, sir. Are you still there with us in Port Harcourt?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Well, nice to still have you back. And like I said, we're still looking at the back and forth between the federal government and also oil marketers. Let's still remain with the oil marketers because I had a long look into that very statement released by them yesterday. And some of the reasons they gave, let's look at the reasons that they gave to believe or to make us believe that the fuel subsidy is still there. Let's look at one. Now, what they said yesterday was that when the naira to the dollar was 700 naira, the price of petrol was being sold for 600, like you said, 585 naira. But it's only a miracle and more of a magic that the naira to the dollar is now 1,000 and the product is still now being sold. And one of the reasons they also gave was, let's look at it. Just a month after the subsidy was removed, the NNPCL increased the pump price from 600 to 670 naira in some of their outlets because of the dollar increase in that 1 month to about 750 naira. But my question, and they feel it's only magic that the price is still there. But anyway, let's not bring Professor Pella into this, but rather look at it. Do you feel that's enough reason for us to believe that maybe the federal government is paying for the 300 naira that seems to be there and hence the subsidy has come back?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And the method they have taken now, trying to settle the differences between the real price of the product and the variation as a result of, dollar exchange rates is better for them than what they were doing before.
Okay.
So they are just trying to manage the situation in such a way that the federal government will not be disgraced, Mr. President will not be disgraced. And I know quite well that as the major marketers are saying, they are the people that are in charge of this because as an offshoot and fallout of the subsidy removal,
yes,
they did issue them licenses and permitted them to import their product.
Of course.
And they said the prices of demand and supply is going to determine the cost of the product in the market. And that is what happened between June and September, second week of September, when we started seeing these differences. Because the marketers cannot buy dollars with some additional 300 naira per dollar and then go to the market, buy the product, get it into the country and sell it at the old price. That cannot happen. Yeah. So for us to have the stability we currently have in the market with very little difference with what was being sold and what we now have, the government is doing something underground. And I know that it is saving that they are doing by coming forward to deny and then going in-house to handle this. They may also pay this subsidy by reaching out directly to the places where the marketers are buying the product and paying the subsidy straight there. Please pay them at the old price they were buying. Whatever the difference is, send it to the government of Nigeria to pay. We do not want them to understand that we are paying the subsidy because we have removed it and we are still working on modalities to ensure that the removal sustains. This can happen country to country. NNPCL being the highest and biggest petroleum company in Nigeria can talk to another in other parts of the country, and that could happen. So they are managing this strategically and systematically. But there is the tendency that they may fail at some point in time, and then the whole details will come up. But I think that if it is now clear to them that they don't want to export Nigerians more, they want to ensure the price of the product stabilizes, they should go ahead and tell us how much they are spending, because the money they are using belongs to every Nigerian, and we need to know how the money is being used to better our laws, and not for them to do it underground, and they are not opening us that this is what we are doing, and then we keep hearing that they are doing, they are not doing. But the point here remains that the subsidy is being settled by the government through whatever means they are doing it. We believe that is happening. Otherwise, a price of 1 liter of PML would have gone over 1,000 naira by this time.
Well, anyway, it seems more like speculations. Undermining the federal government has not come out to say whether it's true or not. And but let's look at another major, and I know that's even the reason we brought you on board. And it's what the oil marketers believe, because we also heard yesterday from no other but the Secretary General of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association. We're talking about Chief Okeke Ocha. And he feels that if and only if our refineries are also brought back to life, or even make more refineries, these issues will not be there. And but anyway, we've also seen other major marketers also insist that irrespective of whether the refineries do work or not, the pump price of petrol would always be determined by the international markets. And if you could still take your mind back to May and June, at the international market, it was $80 per barrel, but as it stands now, it's $93, $94 per barrel for Brent crude. So do you feel if the refineries come, just like Chief Okeke Ocha said yesterday, there will be a difference? Or do you feel the international market price will always determine it, whether the refineries do work or not?
Yeah, I think that if our refineries come on board, there is going to be a difference, because and the international oil price will not determine what happens domestically here in Nigeria, because we are not buying the crude oil from outside the country to refine in Nigeria, but we have the crude oil here, refining our refineries here. So the price of oil in the international market, or crude in the international market, is not going to affect the Nigerian market, but we are getting the crude from here. Otherwise, as we speak, with outbreak of the massive, extensive war between Hamas and Israel, already the price of oil is sitting up in the international market. Yeah. But if we fix our refineries are getting crude locally and refining. No dollar is involved in the process of refining and supplying to the local market. I believe that is going to crash the price of oil even within the country, without the increase in the fuel price as a result of the Russian-Ukrainian war, Israel and Palestinian war. Is not going to affect Nigeria. And if they also fix, ensure that modular refineries are established like those one we talk about for artisanal refiners, it's also going to solve a lot of these issues. So whatever it is, the solution to the current partner is the fact that we should have our refineries fixed. We should have them producing to capacity. We should build new refineries. And then we are able to produce sufficiently to help us not only make energy products available in the country, but also saving our hard and foreign currency that is now very scarce, and Nigeria is running head-to-head with very high inflation within the country. Yeah. So I think if the refineries are fixed, some of these issues will be addressed.
But I want to take you up on that, Mr. Fineface Dunamini. And why I mean take you up on that, let's look at the issue of gas. We're one of the largest exporters of gas, and we have a substantial amount, a very large one here. And funny enough, we do not import gas, But gas as it stands is about 1,200 naira per kg. So that is something we produce here, but yet we sell at that high price. So what makes you feel, even if we are not buying crude from the international market, we are not still going to use the price, the international market price, to determine what is being sold to these different refineries, whether it's modular refineries or major refineries? Because look at it, we produce gas, but yet we're paying 1,200 naira for a kg of gas.
The reason why we produce gas and we are still paying high to buy gas is part of the exploitation processes that the Nigerian government subject us to as a people. And it's also because the Nigerian liquefied natural gas, NLNG, is a single gas producing plant that we have in the country, compared to the refining of PMS, AGO, and DPK, whereby you have the 4 national refineries working, you have the Dangote refinery come on stream, you have the various private-owned modular refineries across the country operating, and then you have the 18 licenses we have demanded for modular refineries for artisanal crude oil refiners in Niger Delta issued, and those 18 modular refineries are operating. And then you also have the legalization of artisanal crude oil refineries through the Presidential Artisanal Crude Oil Refining Development Initiative, PACODI, that legalizes, modernizes, and integrates artisanal refinery into the economy. And they are also producing these 3 products. I believe that the multiple sources of production that we have within the country, using the crude that is locally sourced, is going to crash the price of AGO, PMS, and DPK in the market compared to that of liquefied natural gas that we currently have. Now, attention is being shifted from PMS to gas because the gas is now like cheaper compared to what you can buy, PMS in the market. Yeah. And a lot of Nigerians are now converting their petrol generators into gas operating generators. Yeah. That is increasing consumption of the product. And the Nigeria liquefied natural gas, apart from supplying some quantity of the product into the Nigeria market, there are other countries of the world that depend on that company to get their liquefied natural gas. And that is the reason why they are unable to make it sufficient for the Nigerian people and then also be able to meet their international demand. And for them to move from that particular quagmire to something that they can be able to meet up, they are expanding the plant. I think they are now on train 7 that they are building, and they have a projection of building up to train 12. So if we have some of those trains come on train, I believe that it will help. But in the interim, the price of gas will continue to rise up because the demand is increasing. That is another area where you have, the forces of demand and supply taking operation in the market, whereby the supply is limited to the number of demand, and you begin to feed it. That is how a lot of gas plants are also springing up everywhere across the country now, because people are not demanding gas more. And you also see that gas is Nigeria's energy transition fuel. Yes. That is to say, they also have also put in place modalities to ensure that the process of producing this product is made to be speedy in such a way that Nigerians can have sufficient as what the country is depending on. So to a very large extent, the price of gas will continue to increase because demand is increasing every day, while the supply is limited compared to what it was before, when a lot of people were using charcoal, a lot of people were using kerosene. And you have artisanal refiners, the Bush refinery, they were producing the kerosene and sharing free of charge to homes as a way of getting their support for what they are doing in the bush. So when you have a reduction in the artisanal refinery operations, whereby they are not producing the kerosene that used to almost go free for the people, DPK is not coming again, PMS is not coming again, then people are now demanding more for gas as a cleaner energy source. Then you begin to have, the increment that we are having now continuing. And it's likely going to move to 1,005 before the second quarter of, 2024, because the demand will continue to increase. And unless power is generated, we have enough electricity, we have enough solar farm being created, and people can afford some of those things, then we can begin to see how to moderate some of these things. But government needs to do more to stabilize the energy market, because the energy is needed to drive the economy. And when the government fails to also provide energy for the people, then a lot of companies will begin to fold up because of high cost of production and payment for energy sources like gas and PPK, diesel, and other things that they use to run their industries and facilities.
Well, Mr. Fineface Udamini, thank you so much for that beautiful explanation. It seems to be really explanatory, and I really appreciate you. And I know you also have a serious meeting. You will definitely be going around 9, so we'll really let you go, and that's why I had to really bring you in and ask you those lovely questions. But thank you so much for spending your time with us. And well, we truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
But like as usual, we always want to call on you any other day. Thank you so much, Mr. Five-Face.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me come back to you now, Comrade Feldomo. Yes, and you heard his explanation.
Yes.
And well, it could really make a whole lot of sense. But let's still make sense out of the discussion we're having and still looking at the issue of whether it's true subsidy is being paid or not. And a clear-cut example why oil marketers feel subsidy is being paid. As of last week, the landing cost for petroleum or PMS itself was 720 naira per litre. And that's a beautiful example. The oil marketers are saying, well, come on, look at it. Who is now paying for the difference? Because what they feel, and it's even stated in the paper yesterday, I followed through with the statement they had yesterday, they feel the pump price of petrol, if there was no intervention, would be at around 800 naira, knowing that the landing cost is about 720. So do you feel, honestly, this enough pointer to the fact that the federal government seems to be paying something, if not a substantial amount, but seems to be paying something to help keep the price at the level it is as of present?
I have the very strong feeling, I don't know whether if I use the word strongest feeling is going to be right, that the federal government is paying subsidy. Even from the body language of Kiari, the CEO of NNPCL,
yes,
that the government have to intervene. He didn't go further. But in what form are they going to intervene if it is not the subsidy that we are talking about?
Okay.
Because he has said that the landing cost is so, and we are still selling at so price. Well, that was his language. And based on these facts, the government intervened. He's indirectly telling us that the government is paying subsidy without mentioning the name direct. But you know, when both are mentioned in proper, the elderly feels uncomfortable because they know quite well that they are referring to them. The best thing to be done is for the government to stop hiding behind the scene and come out publicly. There is nothing wrong in saying that actually we did this, but when we look at the market forces and the prevailing circumstances, we have to change gear. There is nothing wrong in it. It's just a day or two. We know Nigerians.
But talking about something wrong, because that's my question.
Yeah.
We didn't often bring about more anger from Nigerians, knowing that, okay, now why push us through all of these pains if you couldn't manage it? Because that's what everybody is saying. We gotta bring more pains to Nigerians, knowing that it's now being returned. Then what was the need removing it in the first place?
You know, the major problem we have in Nigeria is we forget things too easily, and the level of the rate of our absorption is so high. We have the highest elasticity of absorption, absorbing problems in the world. Did you not go through a Mayfield's Naira saga?
Yeah.
Have we not forgotten about it now? Why is it that this one we cannot forget about this? The sincerity we are talking about this time around.
But sir, now looking at it, can we really forget about it? And I will need you to answer that question as much as I will also ask, do you feel, just like what Fine-Face Dunamini said, that the federal government might really be scared of the reaction? Because let's look at it. Now, when subsidy was removed, the inflation was put at 22.22%.
Yes.
That was in May. But as it stands in the month of August, it was 24.08%, which is a very high increase. And everybody will attribute this to the removal of fuel subsidy.
Yeah.
Now, do you also feel the federal government is also trying to kick against the reactions or hide away from the reactions Nigeria will react if this fuel is being increased? Because, come on, all our pains is hinged on the removal of the subsidy, and that's where Nigeria is going to. So, do you feel that's what the federal government is scared about? The reactions Nigeria will react if we now sell petroleum for 800, 1,000 naira per litre?
Definitely, you are very correct. They are afraid of the reaction, the chain, the effect of the chain reaction. That's what they are afraid of. But when will it not come? Is the next question. Can they hide this in perpetuity? It's not possible. Why not just come out now, face the consequences once and for all, or possibly go after more palliatives, or my fellow countrymen, like they normally say, this is the position we were. We thought it will improve when we go to so dimension, when we go to so dimension. Now it is not working out as planned. Yeah. We felt we should do this. Tender your apology to the nation. Nobody is above apology. No single person. Then what we are going to do to make sure that these things don't go further, let us go back to the grassroots. Backward integration. What is backward integration? The sources of our procurement of petroleum, we have killed them long ago. The Fine-Face talked about modular refineries, talked about refurbishing our moribund refineries. Don't you think that if all these things are on board and working well, do you think we'll go through all this whole battle?
So you feel you're also sharing his views. Okay, I'll plead with you because we need your thoughts on that. But we need to also take a break and go pay some bills. And when we come back, we really need to look at the issue of refineries and if they can really be the lasting solution to all of this.
Exactly.
But anyway, let's solve it later. But now let's go on a break. And when we come back, more discussion centered on the big story for today. Is it back or is it not? I'm just asking.